Right now, lift your hand and try to tickle yourself. Go on. Dig your fingers into your own ribs, the soft part of your neck, the bottom of your foot. Nothing happens. No laughter, no squirming, no helpless, breathless reaction. Just your own fingers doing nothing at all. Now, imagine someone else's fingers in exactly the same spot. Suddenly, you're flinching before they even touch you. Same fingers, same nerves, same ribs. But the real answer is far stranger than ticklishness. The reason you can't tickle yourself is not a quirk. It is a window into one of the deepest tricks your brain performs every waking second of your life. It reveals that you are not actually experiencing the world as it is. You are experiencing a prediction of it. And once you understand why your own fingers fail to make you laugh, you will never trust your sense of reality in quite the same way again. Let's start with the obvious question. Why is being tickled so strange in the first place? Tickling is one of the few sensations that is almost impossible to fake or control. You can choose to smile. You can choose to stay still. But when someone finds the right spot, your body betrays you. You laugh even if you don't want to. You pull away even when you tell yourself not to. There are actually two kinds of tickle, and scientists gave them names a long time ago. The lighter kind, the feather on skin sensation, is called nismesis, the intense, laughter producing kind. The rib digging kind is called gargalesis. It's the second kind, gargalesis, that you cannot do to yourself no matter how hard you try. So, why does your own hand fail where someone else's succeeds? The answer lies in a part of your brain you have probably never thought about, the cerebellum. It sits at the back of your skull, tucked beneath the rest of your brain. And for a long time, scientists thought its only job was coordinating movement. But the cerebellum does something far more subtle. Every single time you move, it makes a prediction. Here is what that means. When your brain sends a command to your hand, telling it to reach toward your ribs, it does not just fire off that command and wait to see what happens. It also sends a copy of that command to the cerebellum. Scientists call this copy an efference copy. Using that copy, the cerebellum predicts exactly what sensation your moving hand is about to produce. The pressure, the location, the timing, all of it, modeled in advance, a fraction of a second before your fingers ever touch your skin. And then something remarkable happens. Your brain takes that prediction and uses it to cancel out the real sensation. This is the heart of it. When the prediction matches what actually happens, your brain turns the volume down. The sensation is dampened, muted, filed away as unimportant. Because if your brain already knew it was coming, it isn't news. It isn't a threat. It's just you, touching you. So your brain quietly erases it. The technical name for this is sensory attenuation, and it is happening to you constantly, far beyond tickling. The researcher who proved this most elegantly was a neuroscientist named Sarah Jane Blakemore. In a now famous set of experiments, she built a little robotic device. A person could move one lever, and that lever would control a soft foam piece that tickled their own hand. When the movement and the tickle happened at the same time, perfectly predicted, people barely felt it. But then Blakemore added a delay. She made the robot tickle their hand a fraction of a second after they moved the lever. And as the delay grew, something fascinating happened. The tickle started to feel real again. The longer the gap between the prediction and the sensation, the more ticklish it became. Think about what that proves. The ticklishness wasn't about who was doing the touching. It was about whether your brain could predict it, break the prediction even by a few hundred milliseconds, and your own hand suddenly becomes a stranger's. So, why would your brain bother building this elaborate prediction and cancellation system just to ruin your fun? Because tickling is a tiny side effect of something essential. Your brain is drowning in sensory information. Every moment, your skin, your eyes, your ears, your muscles are flooding it with signals. If your brain treated all of those signals as equally important, you would be overwhelmed instantly. You would feel every shift of your clothing, every movement of your tongue, the constant touch of your own arms against your sides. You would notice the feeling of your eyeballs moving in their sockets. Life would be unbearable noise. So your brain learned a trick. It predicts the sensations you cause yourself, and it filters them out. The signals that survive, the ones that reach your awareness, are mostly the ones your brain could not predict. The unexpected ones, the ones that might actually matter. A spider on your neck, a tap on your shoulder, another person's hand, things you did not generate yourself and therefore could not anticipate. This is why the world feels full of other things and strangely empty of you. You don't feel your own heartbeat most of the time. You don't feel your tongue resting in your mouth. You don't hear your own blood rushing. Your brain has predicted all of it and turned the volume down, leaving room for the things that come from outside. But here is where it gets genuinely strange. This prediction system isn't just filtering touch. It is doing the same thing to your entire experience of reality. Consider this. The signals from your senses are slow. By the time light hits your eye and the information travels to your brain and gets processed, a tiny but real amount of time has passed. If you were simply reacting to raw sensory data, you would always be living slightly in the past, a step behind the real world. A fast moving ball would already be somewhere else by the time you saw where it was. So your brain doesn't wait. It predicts. It builds a constant running model of what the world is about to be. And that model is what you actually experience. The neuroscientist Anil Seth has described perception as a kind of controlled hallucination. Your brain generates its best guess about reality and then use incoming sensations to correct that guess, rather than building your experience up from scratch each time. Read that again. You're not seeing the world. You're seeing your brain's prediction of the world, nudged into shape by your senses. The failure to tickle yourself is one of the only times you can directly feel this hidden machinery at work. Most of the time, the prediction is so accurate, so seamless, that you have no idea it's there. It feels like you are simply experiencing reality, raw and direct. But tickling cracks the illusion open. When you touch yourself, the prediction is perfect, so the sensation vanishes. When someone else touches you, the prediction fails, and the full, unfiltered signal comes roaring through. The laughter, the squirming, the helplessness. That is what unpredicted reality actually feels like, so before your brain has tamed it. There's a deeper layer still. This same system may be part of what gives you a sense of self at all. How does your brain know which actions are yours and which belong to the outside world? In large part by this prediction. When you move and the sensation matches the prediction, your brain tags it as me. When a sensation arrives with no matching prediction, it gets tagged as not me out there. Some researchers believe that when this system breaks down, the consequences are profound. There is evidence that certain people who experience symptoms of schizophrenia are, in fact, able to tickle themselves. The leading interpretation is that their prediction system, the one that tags self generated sensation, isn't dampening those signals the way it should, blurring the line between self and other. Let that settle for a moment. The simple, silly fact that you cannot tickle yourself may be running on the very same machinery that tells you where you end and the rest of the world begins. So the next time someone reaches for your ribs and you collapse into helpless laughter, remember what is really happening. You are not laughing because their fingers are special. You are laughing because for one rare moment, your brain failed to see the future. The prediction broke, the filter dropped, and raw, uncancelled reality touched you directly, the way it almost never gets to. Now lift your hand one more time and try to tickle yourself. Nothing. And that nothing is not emptiness. It is the quiet sound of your brain doing what it does every waking second, predicting your every move, editing you out of your own experience, building the seamless illusion you have always mistaken for the world. You cannot tickle yourself for the same reason you cannot surprise yourself. Because wherever you go, your brain has already been there first, waiting for you to arrive.